For years, viewers have watched Kelly Ripa light up the room with her quick wit, unstoppable energy, and effortless charm. She makes laughter look easy. She makes mornings brighter. And beside her, Mark Consuelos has always played the role of the confident, grounded partner, the man who can keep up with her pace and still steal the spotlight in his own way. Together, they've been one of television's most admired couples, proof that love, humor, and partnership can survive the pressure of fame. But one recent moment caught fans completely off guard. It wasn't dramatic lighting or a planned reveal, it was subtle, quiet, real. And that's exactly why it hits so hard. Kelly, usually the first to turn tension into a joke, paused. Her smile softened. Her voice changed just enough that longtime viewers noticed instantly. And in that moment, fans saw a side of her that rarely makes it on air. The deeply reflective, emotionally honest woman behind the polished TV presence. She wasn't sharing bad news. She wasn't announcing a crisis. What she revealed was something far more relatable and, in many ways, more powerful. The emotional weight of long-term partnership, of growing together, of realizing that even the strongest couples carry unseen struggles. Kelly spoke about how easy it is for people to assume that love, once found, simply runs on autopilot. When you've been married for decades, raised children, built careers, and lived so much life side by side, the world assumes you've figured it all out. But the truth, she admitted, is that love doesn't stay alive on its own. It needs attention, it needs effort, and sometimes it needs uncomfortable honesty. Mark listened quietly, the way only someone who truly knows you can. There was no interruption, no joke to break the moment, just presence. Kelly shared that there are days when she feels pulled in 100 directions. Work, family, expectations, the pressure to always be on. And in those moments, she worries about missing the small things, the conversations that don't make headlines, the laughter that happens off camera, the silent understanding that comes from years of shared history. Mark, she said, has his own version of that pressure. While he may not always talk about it the same way, he carries the responsibility of being strong, steady, and supportive, even when he's navigating his own doubts, transitions, and personal challenges. Not dramatic struggles, real ones. The kind that come with aging, evolving, and redefining who you are after decades in the public eye. What surprised fans most wasn't what she said, but how she said it. There was warmth, gratitude, and humor woven naturally into the honesty. Kelly joked that Mark's idea of emotional expression sometimes involves sarcasm, silence, or disappearing to organize something that doesn't need organizing. Mark smiled, admitting that he's guilty of trying to fix things instead of just listening. The studio laughed, but the message landed. This wasn't just banter, it was recognition. They talked about how their relationship has changed since their children grew up and began building lives of their own. The house is quieter now. The chaos of parenting has been replaced with something unfamiliar, space. And space, Kelly admitted, can either bring a couple closer or reveal the distance they didn't realize was there. For them, it became an invitation to rediscover each other, not as busy parents or career-driven partners, but as two people choosing one another again. They talked about how date nights don't need to be extravagant. Sometimes it's just sitting together after a long day, sharing a meal, or laughing about something completely ordinary. Mark teased Kelly about her love of traditions, especially around the holidays, matching pajamas, over-decorating, planning moments that no one else asked for but everyone secretly remembers. Kelly laughed, defending herself by saying that memories don't make themselves. And then came the line that stayed with fans long after the show ended. Kelly said that love isn't about grand gestures, it's about showing up when it would be easier to check out. It's about staying curious about the person you think you already know. It's about choosing kindness, even during disagreements. Mark responded in his own way, admitting that while he may not always express things perfectly, he never takes their partnership for granted. He talked about how proud he is of Kelly, not just as a public figure, but as the woman who has grown, adapted, and remained fiercely herself through every stage of life. The moment didn't feel scripted, it felt earned. Fans flooded social media afterward, many saying they felt seen. Couples who have been together for years recognized themselves in the conversation. Younger viewers said it gave them a more realistic picture of love, not the fairy tale version, but the one built on patience, laughter, and mutual respect.
What made it truly special was the balance. The conversation never became heavy or hopeless. There was no sense of despair. Instead, it was grounded in appreciation, in the understanding that struggles don't mean failure, they mean growth. Kelly joked that if relationships were easy, no one would need anniversaries to remind them why they started. Mark added that surviving arguments about travel plans, gift giving, and holiday schedules should probably come with an award. The laughter returned, but something had shifted. The audience wasn't just watching hosts anymore, they were watching partners. In a world obsessed with perfection, this moment stood out because it wasn't perfect at all. It was human. Kelly and Mark didn't pretend to have all the answers. They simply showed what it looks like to keep choosing each other even when life changes the rules, even when the future feels uncertain, even when the spotlight fades and it's just the two of you sitting with your thoughts. That's why this moment mattered. Not because it was tragic, but because it was honest. And honesty, when shared with warmth and humor, has a way of connecting people far beyond the studio walls. If there's one takeaway from this unexpected glimpse into their relationship, it's this: love doesn't have to be loud to be meaningful. Sometimes the quiet moments, the pauses, the reflections, the shared smiles say everything. As fans continue to follow Kelly and Mark, this heartfelt exchange serves as a reminder that behind every public image is a private journey, and the most beautiful stories are often the ones that unfold slowly, built on trust, laughter, and the decision to stay present. If this moment resonated with you, take it as a sign to check in with the people you love. Start the conversation, share the laugh, make the memory. And if you believe that real love is made stronger by honesty, growth, and a little bit of humor, let your voice be heard. Share your thoughts, your experiences, and the moments that matter most to you. Because at the end of the day, the stories that stay with us aren't the perfect ones. They're the real ones.